Let's look at Lesson 3. This is Miss Fountain, and make sure you've read Lesson 1 and 2 before starting this one. Let's look at the essential question. Why does conflict develop? Again, the title is War with Mexico, so this is going to be about war with Mexico. And let's look at the picture here. It says U.S. troops enter Mexico after war is declared in 1846. So we know when it happens, and here we have, again, a drawing of U.S. troops going into Mexico. Oregon and Texas were not the only far-flung lands to which Americans moved. Many settlers also streamed into New Mexico, after the Santa Fe Trail became a busy trade route. President James K. Polk wanted New Mexico, but Mexico refused to sell the land or even to negotiate. Polk maneuvered events so he could declare war. So here's a primary source. These are actually President Polk's words. It's from his address to Congress, May 11th, 1846. So this is his speech that he gave to Congress. The strong desire to establish peace with Mexico, on liberal and honorable terms, and the readiness of this government to regulate and adjust our boundary and other causes of difference with that power, on such fair and equitable principles as would lead to permanent relations of the most friendly nature, induce me to seek the reopening of diplomatic relations. An envoy of the United States repaired to Mexico with full powers to adjust every existing difference. The Mexican government not only refused to receive him or listen to his propositions, but after a long-continued series of menaces, have at last invaded our territory and shed the blood of our fellow citizens on our own soil. So in this speech, he's asking Congress to declare war in response to Mexico. He says that Mexico has attacked us. It says has invaded our territory and shed the blood of our fellow citizens on our own soil. So they're saying that Mexico has invaded the United States and killed U.S. citizens. And so because of this, we should declare war with Mexico. So let's take a look at making connections. Analyze how the information on this page is connected to the wider narrative of the entire chapter. Does the quotation from William Becknell support or contradict the paragraph it accompanies? And let's look at all the questions. So this is the look of heading, the New Mexico territory. So this is going to be about New Mexico. Guiding question, how did the Santa Fe Trail benefit the New Mexico territory? And let's preview the questions for checking for understanding. Number 1, explain effects. How did William Becknell influence settlement of New Mexico? Number 2, identifying perspectives. Did Mexico make a mistake in allowing Americans to settle Santa Fe? Explain. So this one's more opinion. Let's go back to the reading. In the early 1800s, the land called New Mexico was a vast region between the Texas and California territories. It included all the land that is now the states of New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, and Utah, and parts of Colorado and Wyoming. Native Americans had lived in the area for thousands of years. Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 1500s and made the region part of Spain's colonies. In 1610, the Spanish founded the settlement of Santa Fe. Spanish missionaries soon followed the conquistadors into the area. Mexico, including New Mexico, won its independence from Spain in 1821. Before then, the Spanish had tried to keep Americans away from Santa Fe. They feared Americans would want to take over the area. The new Mexican government, however, welcomed American traders to boost the economy. William Becknell, the first American trader to reach Santa Fe, arrived in 1821. His route came to be known as the Santa Fe Trail. It was a big improvement over the trails that existed in the dry and rugged area. As Becknell wrote, I avoided the so much dreaded sandhills, where adventurers have frequently been forced to drink the blood of their mules to allay or relieve their thirst. The Santa Fe Trail started near Independence, Missouri, which was then on the western edge of the United States. It crossed the prairies to the Arkansas River. It followed the river west toward the Rocky Mountains before turning south. The trail was mostly flat, and Becknell used wagons to transport his goods. Other Americans soon followed Becknell. The Santa Fe Trail became a busy trade route. As trade with New Mexico increased, Americans began settling the area. Some believe that acquiring New Mexico was part of American manifest destiny. we'll talk about this really briefly. So again, in the whole New Mexico area, it was more of northern Mexico at the time, and again include California, what is present-day New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, parts of Colorado, and Wyoming. Native Americans were there first. Spanish came over, and they taught Native Americans Spanish, and Spain controlled the region, and then Mexico kicked Spain out. And then, again, that area wasn't very populated. Mostly it was Native Americans at the time, but you had some Spanish citizens and then Mexican citizens. And then with the Santa Fe Trail, now all of a sudden you have a lot of people coming in from America. And again, William Becknell, he's the one who made it popular, made it well known. And this trail, again, was popular because in lots of parts of traveling through the Southwest, there's lots of deserts. And there are stories of people who have died of thirst. They ran out of water in the desert area. They don't have enough water, and you don't have water, you die. And so some people, trying to avoid dying of thirst, actually would drink blood from their animals to try and survive. Not pleasant, but they were desperate, and there's no water and they're thirsty. They had to live. So people were much happier with the Santa Fe Trail, where there was more access to water. And let's see. And again, a lot of them were following that belief of manifest destiny. We talked about that in the previous lessons, that idea that the United States is destined to move west, that westward expansion. Okay, so again, Becknell is the one who helped make the Santa Fe Trail popular. And again, this opened up for more U.S. citizens to settle the area. Let's see. So let's take a look at the Santa Fe Trail. Again, it started Independence. One of the reasons why it starts over here in Independence, because that's where Missouri River is. Access to water. Remember, they're going to be traveling through desert areas. They want water. So they go through, and again, you'll see other stops along rivers. You see how they follow the Arkansas River. This was the safer route. You can see it's the less direct route. If they wanted to go straight, they would take this one. But even though it was more direct and technically faster, it was also more dangerous because less access to water. So here they follow the Arkansas River so that way they can stay close to the water, have plenty of water to get to Santa Fe. Here, this is, if you run out of water, you are out of luck, and you have a very strong possibility of not surviving the route. So you had to be careful when traveling westward. Lots of dangers traveling through the west.